まあ、皆さんが多分ツイッターなんで、僕はあえてリンクドインでシェアします。
多分ね、CG が来た。ちょっと待って。
おお、流れてますね。
CG さんが待ってるわ。
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. CG, it's surprising because here is Benjamin.
Remember me?
Yes, yes.
How you been?
How are you? Really good. How are you?
Good. New haircut.
Yeah, I cut it myself actually last night.
And a sports jersey.
Yes, yes. This is New Jersey.
Okay, so today Benjamin helped the translation today. So.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So by the way, it's very cool your background. So Binance logo. That's cool.
Yeah, it's actually a real flag.
Oh, really? And your shirts or also
yeah,
the.
It's
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Binance FC.
Like Binance team.
So okay, now so YouTube is ready already. Start. Can we start? No.
It's on.
Okay. So everyone, welcome to our fireside chat. So I'm Miss Bitcoin. I'm working with Binance charity for the crypto against COVID campaign almost 3 months. So far, Binance has delivered about 1 million personal protective equipment to all around the world. So Italy, US, Brazil, Nigeria, Turkey, UK, Russia, Japan, and more. So for Japan, we are doing Crypto Against COVID Japan initiative fundraising campaign now. And Binance will match the Crypto Against COVID contributions for Japan by making a one-to-one match donation. All raised funds will be used on the procurement of essential medical suppliers and donated to medical institutions throughout Japan. So I think that the great things about this much donation is that each company brought various ideas in creative things and involve the users. So of course, it's great just to make a donation in cryptocurrency, but the idea was very fun. For example, making this collaboration limited product and donating the sales. And my purpose for setting up this session today was to share with everyone in the world to know about this great campaign and amazing Japanese blockchain companies. Today, I invited fundraising partners from Japan and special guest CZ from Binance, and I'm very excited to have all of you today. So, and first of all, I would like to say thank you to CZ. So because Binance already donated 110,000 masks to hospitals and welfare centers in Japan. Thank you, CZ.
Thank you, Mai-san. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone in Japan for helping us. And thank you to Mai-san for spending the last 3 months or so doing a lot of work to make this happen. And I see the crypto spell, the dragon's already there as well. So I want to thank everyone for making the effort to make this a reality. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay.
So Mai-san, do you want to introduce everyone so that people know who they are?
But we have limit. So I think the first question from them, so they will give you a short introduction. So is it okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's start. And you can see everyone's name here.
Yes, I can see everyone name and face. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so, just a moment. And first of all, I would like to talk about NFT things. Yeah, because now NFT is popular in Japan. And regarding this matching donation campaign, 6 companies are using NFT. And so that's why, yeah, I would like to talk about NFTs first. What do you think?
Well, I think NFTs definitely have a strong future. It's blockchains is now we can have a truly unique collectibles tracked by the blockchain. So we can have different dragon cards. We can have different we can have different spells. We have like different heroes. So all of these things are very unique now. So and we can track them individually. And there's a history behind each of the assets. So I think NFTs right now the market is still very small because each items they're not ideal for high frequency trading, but there are collectors items. So I think a lot of the NFTs that's created now in 10 years they will be very rare items because in 10 years, 20 years, the NFTs created today will have the history. So there will only be a few of those available. So I think some of those will be very valuable in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. And so you said dragon, so you bought the Binance Dragon.
Yeah, Binance Dragon. This one.
The lacking.
Very cool dragon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Kato-san, thank you very much for Crypto Spell's design for that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And so Koda, you have a question to CG, right? So you want to ask about Binance Dragon things, right? コウタさん、なんかバイナンスドラゴンの質問、今したらどうですか？
はい。ベンジャミンお願いしてもいいですか？
はい、お願いします。
はい。
まずじゃあ、日本語で言ってもらって大丈夫です。
じゃあ、このドラゴンなんで買ってくれたんですかっていうのをちょっとお聞きしたいです。
Just wondering why you bought the dragon. What attracted you to it?
Well, actually, I just wanted to experience what the experience was to buy the NFT or the unique assets. Well, partially because I think my son asked me to buy it. Also, interestingly, in Chinese zodiac, I'm a dragon. So I was born on the year of the dragon. So dragons are pretty close to me anyway. So I felt, well, let's buy one, see. Yeah. So it was pretty interesting.
Thank you.
Very cool. And yeah, so everyone, so it's so you don't hesitate. So
CZ, do you like anime?
Yes, absolutely. I like a lot of anime. Yeah, that's quite a lot of them. Actually, I really like Ghost in the Shell as well. Like a really old one. Yeah. So big robots. Yeah. So I like anime a lot. So that's something I think even Elon Musk have in common with us.
I ask you that question because we're a company that makes Japanese anime into NFT. And actually, recently we collaborate with Ghost in the Shell, the new one as well.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the sort of arts, anime, cartoons, a lot of the arts entertainment will be NFT tokenized. So some of them will be very valuable in the future. I think that's a pretty interesting field.
It's I believe the things, the animation and also comics is already starting is that kind of perspective. It's like unique. It's already proved. The fact is people's buying a lot and so fast. So Anik is going to be the first leading company for the animation non-fungible tokens. And my company Linker and also Kwang is that we produced NFT for the licensing business of Japanese characters. So we're going to follow the Anik is doing and make things bigger together.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that will be really good to just like asking more contents to make them into NFT. Yeah.
And I think Japan is also probably the most advanced country in terms of anime arts, especially digital arts. So I think this is a pretty, and also Japan is a very advanced in terms of digital currencies. So Bitcoin is legally recognized as a digital currency or digital asset. So I think the combination of these two will make the industry quite big. So I like Japan a lot. So I have very big hopes for this.
So speak something.
Now we are talking about NFT and blockchain game, and maybe so Kengo or
I want to see that to talk about the blockchain game. For example, blockchain game needs cryptocurrency to play. For example, now in Japan, the blockchain game needs Ethereum to play. So cryptocurrency exchange is really important partner for the blockchain game company. Yeah, so do you have any ideas about the collaboration with blockchain game? Yeah, of course, it is not about Japan, it's okay. So like sandbox.
Sure. Yes, I think we are here to provide the liquidity. So we as an exchange want to work with all the token issuers so that we can provide the liquidity. And unfortunately, we cannot advertise or solicit Japanese users directly. So we're not licensed in Japan. So we are able to do that for Binance.com. But for any of the international users, I believe even if the tokens issued by a Japanese team, we can give that liquidity to international users. So we would very much want to help any project in the world, especially in Japan, to bring that liquidity to the international audience. So we would very much want to do that. I think game tokens is really interesting as well. Today, there's two approaches. One approach is to develop the games on the blockchain, that like the CryptoKitties, etc. That has some limits because the blockchains are not fast. The current blockchains are relatively low capacity, so you have some capacity issues. But we as a centralized exchange can provide liquidity for people to trade, so people can buy and sell that very easily. So we want to do that. And I was just talking with somebody earlier today about music tokens. So like the same thing, very similar to sort of game tokens, but just content tokens. So that's also very interesting. I think Japan will be pretty strong in that as well.
But GG, is there music token means is licensing token or master rights tokens?
There's both actually. So there's a content creator token. So content creators can use that to create content, and then people who wants to listen to the music will pay with a token. And there's a token economy. So there's some really interesting designs there as well.
Interesting. Because I've seen that so many people has tried and failed already last 3 years, and maybe the time could be this is the right time. My friend from Australian project, his story failed, fortunately.
Yes. So I think basically the previous people who tried and failed doesn't mean that those people are bad or the concept or the idea is bad. It may just mean the timing is wrong. Whether it's going to work now or not is again we're not sure, but we have to keep trying. So from our perspective, we really want to help. So we being the bigger exchange in the industry, we want to help other people try different tokens. And we want to help them with trading with liquidity, so we can bring users to them and have established price discovery for them. So that's what we want to do.
So do you mean that Binance will be having like an NFT exchange marketplace like in the future?
I think so to be very honest, I think NFTs today, the trading volume will be low. Those are not good for an exchange like Binance. Because we have an order book, and there's like I think NFTs are probably better for auction type of exchanges.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking auction
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. So like kind of like eBay, right? So one item, everybody bid for it, and then it changes hand. So I think that kind of price discovery is probably better for NFTs. But for game tokens, if the game tokens are not NFTs, so they are fungible tokens, then I think exchange like Binance is easier to trade, because Binance, the sort of order book graphs, like candlestick charts, this type of exchanges are made for fungible tokens, really. So, but I think in the future, we do want to support NFTs sooner or later. But I think NFTs probably will trade less often, but each trade, there should be an auction going on. Yeah.
Just a random idea. You can bring all kind of coins and let them do auction with all kind of coins.
Yes.
That'll be interesting.
Yes. I think NFTs can be used by many different type of content, right? So arts, anime, music, games, a lot of different things. And some of the NFTs will be really, really valuable. I don't know if you guys watched the movie Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So
I love that movie.
So eventually, I think that there will be a lot of game, what do you call it? The game game tokens or game weapons or tools or treasures in the games that will be very similar to those very sort of very rare items, and that's those things will be very valuable, I think.
Okay, so now Cici mentioned about the Ready Player One, and I think Kengo has the question of like the future of blockchain, right? Like a VR. You talked about VR before, and I think
always blockchain game connects the future of VR or AR. So that is okay. I can't see your face.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. In Japan, the blockchain games, the future of blockchain game is always connect the VR technology or AR technology. So yeah, in the long future, a blockchain game will connect to the VR technology. Like this, how about the cryptocurrency future? I want to listen your ideas or your thoughts.
Yeah, I think everything will be connected to everything in the future. I think there's sort of different concepts, right? I think all games will be, well, not all, most games probably will have a VR, AR aspect to it. Blockchain cryptocurrencies or tokens are a way for people to either design the game economies or game incentives to promote games or collect different NFTs in games, etc. Whether crypto trading will have a VR interface, some people already try to make the Binance website in the VR environment. So that's quite cool as well. But I think, yeah, all of those technologies together will create a much higher digitized world, and in a world with higher degrees of digitization, currency will be digitized very heavily as well. So I think in the future I believe there will be probably a few hundred blockchains, but there probably will be millions of tokens. So different types of tokens. I think blockchain-wise, protocol-wise, in the short term, I don't see like 10,000 blockchains, etc. I think today we see many tokens living on Ethereum, and Binance Smart Chain later on will be able to Binance Chain can allow people to create tokens very easily, but we don't have smart contract capability right now. The Binance Smart Chain will be able to offer smart contract capability. So there's a few different chains that people will create tokens, but for content creators, for game creators, they don't need to create blockchains, and they don't need to create particularly VR, right? So they can just create content. They can create the games, and then they can use VR. They can use blockchain tokens, and we can be here to provide the liquidity for it, so that people can trade, price discovery. You can buy and sell. There's a market, and there's a way to store it. And we bring sort of international audience to games, say in Japan, in other places. So we want to help economies grow in that way. So I think there will be millions of tokens in the future. So this is why. So personally, I like Bitcoin a lot, but I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. So we promote almost every other coin.
Okay. So
everyone's quite shy.
And so you finished talk question about NFT things. If finished, so let's move to talking about Lightning Network. It's okay?
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. So after Lightning Network will be more common to use. So I think there will be more possibilities for small donations. And I would like to ask Yuya here, so who developed a platform that implements the Lightning Network. Hi, Yuya.
Hi, CZ.
Hello, Yuya.
My name is Yuya. Let me introduce first. I'm currently working on a micropayment blog service where users write articles and post it to the platform. And other users buy these articles by using Bitcoin, especially through Lightning Network. So that user can buy these articles very fast and very cheap fee using Lightning Network. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And about the charity, for the Binance charity, what we are doing using our platform is we will donate Bitcoin that is spent to buy these articles. And the amount of Bitcoin we are collected so far is not that much because of micropayment. But so far, I think more than 200 transactions have been made for the charity donation. So I think it's good to use Bitcoin through Lightning Network. And so my question is, what do you see Bitcoin, especially Lightning Network, in the next 10 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think Lightning Network is really important, especially for Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin protocol is relatively is one of the is the earliest protocol. So Bitcoin we know has a 10-minute blockchain block time, and the Bitcoin network has capacity limitations. So transferring on the Bitcoin network is slow, and when there's congestions, it can be expensive. So Bitcoin itself is not really designed for micropayments, small transactions, etc. And having Lightning Network solves this problem on the second layer. So I think this kind of solutions are really, really important for the scalability or the expansion of Bitcoin networks. And even for other blockchains, I think second layer protocols are really, really important. Because for protocols, once a protocol is released, it's very difficult to change them. So so every time we want to change the Bitcoin protocol, we have to do forks, and then the community gets divided. So having second layer solutions attached to the first layer is really, really important. So I think Lightning networks in particular will continue to see a lot of adoption because there is a lot of Bitcoin for the next foreseeable future will continue to be the main cryptocurrency. Because today, if anyone wants to learn about blockchain, they learn about Bitcoin first. So everybody buys Bitcoin first. And Bitcoin, it has the largest market cap, and it has a network effect. It's one of the most secure networks, and also one of the most decentralized. Almost every other blockchain is not as decentralized as Bitcoin. Most blockchains, you can find a founder, where Bitcoin, we don't know who the founder is. So there's a lot of properties which I think will continue to make Bitcoin popular for as long as I can see. And having those second layer protocols supporting that is really, really important. So I think Lightning networks are very important. I want to explain one thing is Binance.com has not integrated with Lightning networks just yet. But that's not to say we don't support it in principle. It's just that the Binance.com infrastructure is very complex. We have a lot of security layers in place. Adding Lightning Network on that, it requires a large amount of work. We just haven't done that yet. So we do want to support Lightning networks, and we're very supportive of development there. And in general, we're supportive of second layer solutions for all blockchains. So yeah, that's kind of our view on that.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, keep working on that. And I think Lightning Network is ideal for content contributions, micropayments. So I think you are using the right technology for to solve that problem. So keep working on it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool. Okay. And so here is Masahiro. Masahiro from New Economy. And so you can ask anytime to CZ if you have any question.
Yeah, long time no see, CZ. We interviewed you in January, about partnership, Japanese partnership. Today, I want to ask you about financial inclusion and institutional finance system about Binance, because I think in order to be a central financial system, to be a CZ or Binance, what is your vision and what is your execution about the financial system and in the future you create, and what is your issue about in Binance for institutional investors?
Okay. I think there's two words you mentioned. There's institutional investors and also financial inclusion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Institutional investors yes.
Okay. So on the institutional investors, I think they are already in the industry, and we see them trading very heavily on Binance.com already. Mm-hmm. So those data are very clear. Mm-hmm. There's two types of institutional investors in crypto. There is the new type, which are new companies that's formed specifically for trading crypto, and they're trading heavily. And there's a second type, which is sort of the traditional institutional investors having some experiments into cryptocurrency. So they typically trade a small percentage of their entire portfolio. So we see more of the first one. So most of the traditional institutions, when they come into crypto, they typically form a new company, because forming companies are relatively easy, to be honest. So you just have to register a company, set up everything, and then create a bank account. Well, in crypto, you actually don't really even need a bank account. You just buy Bitcoin and then start trading. So we see that institutional traders already increasing very significantly in the past little while already. So I think in first quarter, second quarter, each quarter, the institutional trading volume on Binance increased more than 200%. Wow. So they're doubling and doubling. So they're going quite aggressively. And the other advantage of institutional investors is they can choose a jurisdiction. So as a person, it's very hard to choose a different country, but as a company, you can choose whichever country to base your company in. So you can register a company in Japan, you can register a company in, I don't know, in UK, in Cyprus Island, or some other island country. So we see institutional investors actually have more flexibility compared to individual investors. So they can choose to incorporate a company in a country where the regulations are pro crypto. So we've seen a lot of that happening. So the institutions trade are very increasing very quickly. So from Binance, we are doing a lot of work in our products to support that kind of usage. So better API trading, better corporate KYC, better risk controls for different corporate. So now we have a very complex corporate account with sub accounts. So in the institutions, they typically have a team. Each team has different roles. Some people just control the money. Some people are trading, and having all of these advanced features for corporate traders. So we're working on a lot. We have some of those features already, and we're working on more of those features. So I think that's a really important aspect of it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for answers. I have a question about one more question. Do you think will the institutional investor invest in content token and NFT as a financial product in the Binance?
Yes, I think so. So what we see is institutional investors. There's a few different types. There's the sort of what we call high frequency traders. They will just trade any coin. So they just want to. They typically are technical traders. So they look at the candlestick charts and then they look at news. There's some kind of algorithm they can trade, and they trade very heavily. Those guys want very low fees because they trade very often. So their margins are very thin for each trade. Over time, they make money. There's the other type, which we call market makers. So they typically will say, okay, I know this one coin really well, and I'm gonna put both sell and buy orders on the order book. And if people buy more, I'll move the price up a bit. If people sell more, I'll move the price down a bit. And those guys typically specialize in a few coins, and they typically pick companies they know well. And some of them do specialize in content companies, in game companies, etc. And they typically know the business really, really well. So they know the company really well. They know the project. They know every news about it. They know the features of the product, etc. And then there are others who are more like long-term investors. So they buy a coin, they hold. They hold for a long. They're actually not high frequency traders, even though they are institutional investors. So we see all of those type of investments going on. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, that's definitely they definitely trade every token. There's no token they don't trade.
Thank you. Thank you. Please list our Japanese content token first in Binance.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
はい、わかります。わかりました。
お願いします。
Okay.
Thank you, Mai.
Yeah, thank you. And so here is Shota.
Oh,
Hi, Shota.
hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I get you very well.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks everyone for having me in this great conversation. Yeah, especially my son. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm Shota from Crypto Times. It's a media, and I'm researching pretty much everything in this industry. And yeah, not to mention I was in Singapore last year, so it might not be first time for UCZ to meet. Yeah, but nice to see you here again.
Yeah, very nice to see you too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about Lightning Network actually. Yeah, and it's more like Binance's operation. Yeah, Binance from users' perspective, like Binance finds and implements things ultra fast. Yeah, and it often meets users' needs and wants. Then I would ask you is there any background or reasons why you're not implementing Lightning Network at this moment, or is it part of your strategy? Because I know like you've implemented mining last maybe 2 months back. Yeah, that you're very good at like executing things at the right moment, right? Yeah, I believe so at least.
Okay.
So, is there any
Okay.
reason like when are you
Sure.
going to implement like second layer Lightning Network, etc.?
Sure. Okay. So at Binance, we typically run things in a relatively decentralized manner. So most Binance is still a centralized organization, but the different teams they work in very decentralized ways. I think Benjamin knows this well. So we are a little bit optimistic in the sort of features we develop. So for example, if there's a team that says, hey, we want to develop mining, they will go off. If they have a decent plan, we'll say, okay, go ahead, go develop mining. And they may come back in 2 months or 3 months, say we succeeded or we failed. If they failed, then we wouldn't say anything. We just and we just don't say anything. But very often, when they succeed, then we'll say, "Oh, we're launching a mining pool." So things are relatively random in a sense. So it's not like I drive all the decisions in Binance and say, "Look, you have to do this and that." And for mining, it's a relatively independent new business. It's actually easier to do because it doesn't really impact any of the existing businesses. With the Lightning networks, the integration changes fundamentally how we accept Bitcoin deposits. That's a very high risk operation. If there's any issues, the balances could be wrong, and people could potentially make fake deposits and do withdrawals very quickly, and there'll be financial impact. So we have a very heavy security layer surrounding especially Bitcoin deposits. So we deal with network rollbacks, we deal with double spending, all of these issues. And even just sort of generating deposit addresses. We have to generate a large number of them, and we have to rotate them. So operating a exchange wallet is very different from operating a personal wallet. With a personal wallet, you can just upgrade very easily. Whereas upgrading a exchange wallet, because we deal with millions of addresses, the traditional, the default Bitcoin node doesn't work too well. So we cannot use the default Bitcoin node as a wallet. If you try that, if you ever run exchange, if you use the default Bitcoin wallet, the Bitcoin node, when you get to about 100,000 addresses, that software doesn't work anymore. So every deposit is really slow, every withdrawal is really slow. It just doesn't update. So we had to do a lot of work to sort of make it scale. So the problem with all of that work is those code does not scale to Lightning Network that well. So we actually have to do a lot of work to upgrade those code. So that's really the bottleneck we're facing. And also, to be honest, when a new thing comes up, Lightning Network is good for smaller amount transactions. We actually deal with a lot of larger amount transactions. So we don't know where the limits are, how should we, so we're still, I think now we have a pretty good idea of what Lightning networks can and cannot do. So now I think there's a plan to implement it. But it's always more work than simply upgrade the Bitcoin node. So it's really just sort of that much work. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah. So you say like you're how should I put that, you go randomly into this space, and like that what it's not a bad thing, but like for us startups, like we can't do that because like we have limited like capability in like financial aspect. Like we need to decide like what to build, or maybe like what to like commit ourselves into. So
yeah,
would you be able to like give us some advice on like which field in this space like people should be in, or the mindset that people are in this space, like SLA?
Sure. Sure. I think basically it's relatively difficult for me to give specific advice, but I think the first project, well, I think you want to, generally, the way I look at things is, if you want to do a business or a project, you want to get to sustainability very quickly. So you need to be able to sustain yourself. So you need to be able to last for a long time. So that if you're doing a for-profit project, that means getting to a point where you're profitable. If you're doing a sort of a foundation-driven type of project, you want to raise enough money for the next couple of years, I would say, especially in crypto space. In the traditional sort of internet space, people raise for about 12 to 18 months. And then because the time, it takes about 6 months to raise a round of money. And then you last for about a year to 18 months, and then you raise the next round. But in crypto, I would ask people to raise a bit more money. Typically, I would recommend 2 to 5 years because the crypto price can drop. Like crypto price are highly volatile. So I think initially you want to pick something that you know well, that's your true strength, and you want to make sure that there is a market for it and there's a need for it, and get to sustainability very quickly. So for Binance, when we first started, we were just doing one thing. We're just doing the centralized exchange, and we were just doing spot trading, and we were doing only crypto to crypto. So we want a Bitcoin to many other altcoins. So we target that one use case, but we target for people all around the world because it's crypto to crypto. There's no country borders, right? So we got lucky that we grown very quickly and became profitable and self-sustainable very quickly. Afterwards, it's only recently now we are in a position where we can fund newer projects, sort of what we call experiments. I think for newer projects, if you're doing your own first project, there's also trade-offs you can do. You can trade off longer term potential gains for investments now. So you can sell some of your tokens if it's a token project. You can sell some equity if it's a private, if it's like a company-driven type of project. This way, you give up the future upside for short-term sustainability, so you can survive. So I would say don't be. I would always recommend, especially newer projects. Raise some money so that you can survive. For me, it's really for the way I evaluate projects is really number of users. So you want to find something that can get number of users. So whatever you do, if it's anime, if it's content, if it's games, you really want a number of users. So do something that people use. Typically, the larger number of people use it, the better. If a large number of people use your product will have value. That's very simple. So that's usually an area I typically ask all projects or all entrepreneurs to focus on is number of users. So Binance only started doing all these other things after we have a large number of users for crypto to crypto trading. And now we can add more and more service onto Binance.com. And because of the large user base, everything we add gets used very quickly. So that's kind of my advice. So basically, Binance, we also try to help other entrepreneurs in the industry. So we have a Binance Labs investment arm. We have Launchpad to help people launch tokens. So if you guys are interested in that, talk to our teams, and we'll take a look at that as well. But the first project is always the most difficult. So you got to get the first one to a large number of users, and then you can do. Then you have more room to do more fancier stuff.
Yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Do I still have more time or?
So can I? So I'm very curious. So Mr. Okukawa-san. Hi, Okukawa-san.
Hi.
Hi. So next to you, very cute. Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is very, very famous character, right? So I use my Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. So should I introduce myself?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Hi, CC. My name is Shinto from Quan Inc. What we are doing is a bit different from the people in this room, but we simply create the stickers, the chat stickers, on like Facebook, WeChat, Line, KakaoTalk, those like big chat players. And over the years, we achieved about 3.5 billion sticker downloads worldwide, which is like the best of the stickers, I could say. And also, like we have about 21K cents per minute. So it means like in an hour, about like 1 million times of our stickers being sent. So that's really crazy number, and we've been doing this for a long time. But why I'm in this room while I'm just doing the stickers, because our company explore the opportunity of adding more value to our collectors by using a NFT system, because NFT just like you explained, like it goes with contents very well. It gives a value to the contents, become a single. It's kind of exclusive one that people can only a few people can own it, even though like sometimes it appears in the same way, but it can have other attributes that different from the other characters, right? So we think that we just creating a stickers, billions of stickers that people use. Maybe we should focus on putting more value to our stickers and characters by using an NFT system. And that's our first project called Crypt Crystal. And we've seen has some difficulties in that in the end, but I think this area is a still interesting place that we want to explore more. And if you have any idea on like how we can put more value to our digital contents by using NFT or those like blockchain system, I would be really happy to hear from you. And if it's not too much for you, I would be happy. I mean, like Juan would be happy to create your characters for you.
Yeah, please let me add, is there what Shinto mentioned? So Linker and the Quant together is we did experiments for this Binance charity, because basically it's a licensing business, pretty much paperwork business, everything Disney with the amusement center and like kind of old school business. So we tried to experiment is how about this? Is the Kuon has a really famous 50 million downloads, 100 million downloads characters. And we issued NFT with Shinto and publish and try to sell a license itself, exclusive license. Whoever wants to have a business. So it's not really NFT business, but it's trying to make something new, blockchain-based licensing business as an experiment. It's to be honest, this price is really expensive, 150 Ethereum. So it's pretty not too so cheap for price. Yeah. But we put 75% of the money goes to the charity because we need a little money for the lawyers and other process. Mm-hmm. So this is our project, the Shinto and my company. Also, it's actually Link is involved as well. So this is our project. So now Shinto wants to ask you something really unique.
Thank you.
Shinto, so very nice meeting you. And
yes,
I think basically unfortunately I won't have a magic answer for you. Usually I'm the dumbest guy in the room. So
no way.
So usually when you ask me, the problem for me is I'm usually quite far removed from the details of each project. So I know a little bit about every project, but I don't know the details of any one project. So I'm usually the sort of what I always call the dumbest guy in the room. So I don't think I have any sort of magic solutions that can solve, that can make your project suddenly become super, like say 1,000 times more successful. But I think your traditional stickers business is already very, very successful from the sound of it. I think basically but the traditional stickers are not, well, the traditional stickers are fungible. So they're not NFTs, right? So how to change that into NFTs, I'm still thinking, I don't know of a way how you would do that. And I think NFTs are typically collector items, and that needs to be tracked and have a history. For example, there was a Lightning Network torch, and that I think Jack Dorsey started with the Lightning Network, passed around, well, virtually passed around different people around the world. And I got it once, and I passed it on. And there's a history of it. And that actually was able to generate, I don't know how much money, but it was actually, every time people passed along, people had to add money to it until the very end. I think there was quite a lot of money in the end. So I think, yeah, those things sounds really interesting. I wouldn't have a magic solution to solve the problem here, so I'm not that smart.
Actually, yeah, thanks very much. If I had a magic solution, then I would be like, I don't know, billionaire already. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I think that makes sense to me too. But I mean, like, maybe it's kind of like art collection, you know, like some artists create a piece of art and it's only exclusive of that version, like that edition. And maybe we can explore as a digital content with an NFT in that way. I'm not sure. I'm still like thinking about that. But like the point is maybe NFT can enable our character to be something exclusive and something exclusive to the users, rather than like a pack of like stickers that everyone can use, but only for that person.
Yeah, I think if there's a NFT sticker that only the people who have it can send it, the history of that sending of that sticker going to whoever is quite interesting. But I don't know if that idea would. I can't really understand. What I can't solve is, do you need special clients to receive the NFT? For example, the stickers you create, I would assume they just work in any chat program, right? So either Line or some other chat program, you can just send the stickers. Whereas if you create an NFT, you probably need a customized client to be able to receive it, which may limit the ability for people to send and receive it. I don't know. But to answer your second point, yeah, if you create any specialized stickers for us, I would really appreciate it. Yeah, or try to collect it as well.
Definitely do.
Yeah, Shinto, yes, let's make it and sending to CZ only first, and he start to use and make a buzz. Only CZ, CZ sticker.
It probably won't be that much of a buzz though.
No.
I wanted to.
Let us create your stickers.
Yeah, maybe we can exchange some ideas afterwards, so I can learn a little bit more about it. I don't think I understand enough about it to make any smart suggestion now. Or
please, if you have time, yes, that would be really appreciated. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are talking about NFTs, and so Fujiki-san, so you have any question?
Hi.
Yeah, so please.
Hi, CZ.
Hello.
I'm Shinya Fujiki from Axel Mark Inc. よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
はい。ベンジャミン、略してもらっていいですか？
はい、ぜひ。
はい。今、コントラクトサーバントっていう日本一のブロックチェーンゲーム運用してるんですけども、どんどん略してください。
はい。So they run a game called Contract Server, which is a card game. It's the #1 game in Japan.
でユーザーがそのゲームを始めるときに結構手順がいっぱいあって難しいっていうところでつまずいてしまうことがよくあって、でぜひちょっとお聞きしたいのが、バイナスさんが今後この NFT を使ったブロックチェーンゲームに対して何かアカウントを連携できるようなものだったりとか、ウォレットを提供したりだったりとか、そういう可能性って あるのかなっていうのをお聞きしたいです。
So when their users want to play the game, it's actually very hard. There's many steps that they have to go through. And so he's wondering if maybe there's a way for Binance to link the NFTs to the Binance account and provide wallets for the gamers to use.
Okay. We do have we don't actually provide that capability on NFTs today. We actually do have a number of services that we are pushing out for the Binance Open platform to be able for other third parties to link accounts or use Binance accounts for OAuth, logging, authentication, and also potentially transfer tokens directly through the Binance account. Maybe, yeah, translate that. Benjamin, you can translate that first. I don't want to get too much.
It's okay. There's while you talk, there's somebody typing in Japanese.
Okay. So yeah, and hopefully one of those. So we have Binance OAuth, which allows third-party platforms to use the Binance account to log in. When after they log in, they have access to certain amount of information that the user allow them to access. So there is a special partners API which we are adding to allow transfer of tokens on the user's account. So between two Binance users, they can transfer relatively easily. And even between Binance users to a third-party user, there's a way to do that. We recently launched something called Binance Access, which also allows third-party platforms to use the Binance platform to trade tokens, but also basically fundamentally it's for tokens to be exchanged between users. So even a non-Binance user, you can give them tokens into their account, and later on when they sign on to Binance, they have that token there. So there are a number of those things in the works. Today, they work for fungible tokens. We don't have NFTs yet. In the future, we do want to increase that ability to include NFTs.
ありがとうございます。
So I guess-
NFT に対応していただけると非常に使いたいですね。期待してます。
He'd love to use the service if you're able to use NFTs on it.
Okay. I think basically we always do what people want. So if the demand, I think the demand is getting there. So we will definitely look very closely into supporting NFTs on Binance. Yeah.
That sounds great. And we have 5 minutes left. And so you can, everyone, so please talk. Don't hesitate.
So I have one question, just a really simple question.
Yeah.
Easy. What do you expect these entrepreneurs from Japan, mainly? What do you expect, those people to work with you guys? I mean, Binance and CZ. What do you expect for their future business, for future cryptocurrency market?
I think one of the biggest limitation factors for entrepreneurs, especially crypto entrepreneurs in Japan, is access to liquidity. So because the Japanese regulations are very strict on which coins can be traded in Japan. So what we can help is we can give you international liquidity. So for projects in Japan, I believe that if we take your tokens and launch on Binance.com, that's the best thing we can help is international liquidity. So unfortunately, we are not able to provide you Japanese. Nobody can. Nobody can for most of the new tokens. So unless you're one of the top 20 or one of the top 30 tokens, then yes. But hopefully that will change soon. But that's the thing we can do the best. So we're the liquidity platform provider. Yeah.
Makes sense. This could be the Japanese game developer publish it's a global version of game and the Japanese version of game and grab the whole bunch of global users and start working with you.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think more and more games, digital content, etc. There are, especially games, they're pretty international. most gamers are the same demographic. If you have a game that's only in Japanese, yes, then most international players will not play it. But if translating to multiple languages is usually not that difficult. So most games are very international. So we do hope to be able to work closely with the Japanese gamer or crypto community to be able to provide them more liquidity.
It's great.
Question.
Yep.
What's your favorite game you played and why? Please respond with advice for game creators as well.
Sure. I actually don't play that many games. I used to play Counter-Strike quite a lot. So but that's like maybe 10 years ago. So now, I'm not a very good gamer. So
no way, because Benjamin said you are the great player. So.
Yeah, best 10 in Japan.
Give away secret information. Like your top 10 in Japan.
Really?
At one point on Counter-Strike, we had a clan when I was living in Tokyo 10 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 19 years ago. That's how old I am. But in around 2000, when Counter-Strike 1.3 version, we had a clan in Japan, mostly gaijins in Japan, and we play tournaments. And back then, I was able to sometimes rank high in the Tokyo ranking board.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. I think Kota-san, you wanted to say something before?
I have a question.
Yeah.
日本の NFT プロジェクトで注目しているもの、好きなもの、何かありますか?
Within the Japanese NFT space, is there anything that you particularly like?
Well, I like the dragons.
Very popular in crypto space.
Yeah. So but I'm not. I think today I'm not a collector. I actually want to collect some of the tokens today. In 5 to 10 years from now, I think that the NFTs today may not be worth that much, but in a few years they will have a history. And then of the ones that have history, we may want to collect some of them. Yeah. I believe Jeremy was raising your hand.
Maybe Jeremy should give one NFT easy because he loves Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, for sure. Please collect our NFT. We'll be really happy to send you.
Sure. Well, collecting them now is a good time because those things their value accumulate over the history, right? But after they have a story, the values go up.
Yeah, and we'll be really happy if we have CZ on the token, on the
Sure.
owner history. That'd be really cool.
Sure, I'd be honored. Anything else?
Yeah, anything else, everyone? Okay. So yeah, it's just 9 p.m. So okay, so thank you so much for joining today, everyone. And that was amazing. I was very enjoying our session. And I think the world is confusing now because of COVID-19. But since blockchain is a community with no borders, and I would like to continue working together.
So I want to thank you, Maya-san, and everyone here for your generous donations. I want to thank you guys on behalf of all of our users and for helping out. And we by ourselves will not be able to execute in Japan for a charity event of this size. So we very much appreciate all the help, and we hope all of you guys. I know all of you guys by face now. So we hope you guys to continue to work hard on your projects. And if you need anything in the future for Binance, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
CZ.
you.
Thank you, everyone. 皆さんありがとうございます.
Thank
you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.